Welcome to the Den of Tools.
Howdy ho, guys and gals, it's Red, your friendly neighborhood tool bear, back again here in the old Den of Tools. And today we got another tiny little miter saw for you. Yep, you guys love that heart saw so much. You asked me, you say, hey, Bear, can you show us the new 7¼ inch there from the old Harbor Freight's, the new Warrior? And sure enough, we got it in the den. We got it set up. We ran it through its paces. And we're going to show you a whole bunch of stuff, what it can do, what it can't do. Some of the things maybe you shouldn't try at home. Definitely don't try at home. But before that, let's go over the saw itself, because on first blush, these kind of, this saw and the heart saw and a lot of these other 7¼ saws, they all kind of look the same. And I'm going to kind of tell you about what the saw, how they're not the same. Let's talk about that. What's good, what's bad, and what's kind of ugly about this saw. All right, so $89.99. Now, that's the one thing about these small saws, especially the Warrior saw. It's cheap. All right, this gives you a lot of options. First of all, if you're on a budget, this is an option. If you've got a small shop, this is an option. If you need something with extreme portability, this thing is light, it's small. When you fold it all as much as you can, it gets really compact. And then also, if you need a secondary saw in your shop, maybe something that's dedicated to a specific use, this is shut up, Mo. This is a great specific use for that saw. So anyway, let's jump into it. Take a look at some of the feature sets here. As we said, 7¼ inch compound single bevel, 9.5 amp, 5,200 RPMs. Pay attention to that. That's going to come into play later in the video here. Easy access for brushes for easy servicing. That's kind of nice. Spindle lock for easy blade changes. Yeah, that's a complete lie. There's no spindle lock on this thing. I don't know what's up with Harbor Freight's marketing department. I've complained about them for years now, and they keep getting basic stuff like this wrong, and I don't know why. It doesn't say it on the packaging. It doesn't say it in the manual. In fact, if you go in the manual, you look at this same kind of thing where it shows all the key, features and stuff. It doesn't say anything about a spindle lock on it. In fact, what it does show you is how you do have to change the blade, which is, if you've ever changed the disc on a grinder, it's very similar to that. It uses a similar kind of a wrench on that, a Y kind of wrench. It's very similar. It's a lot sketchier. I'm going to tell you that, because, I mean, you can see the guy wearing those gloves in there. I guess those are like those steel wool gloves or whatever. This guy, because this is sketchy. All right. It's a good thing that you don't often change blades on something like this. So once you get it done, you're not going to be changing it all that much, hopefully. But you are going to need that little wrench to do it, and the Allen key that goes with it. And yeah, it's a two-handed operation. Honestly, I found it easier to set the thing up on its side to do it. But enough about that. Let's jump back into it. We talked about the motor. 47 miter left and right with positive stops. But if you notice, there's something missing. Might have jumped right out at you. Right at the front, there's no knob lock kind of thing. So how do you change it? See that little knob back over here? Yeah, that thing. You loosen that thing up and the whole thing pivots. I'm going to show you in the video, but it's as kooky as it sounds. Compact lightweight construction for easy transportation. It is that. There's no doubt about it. 2x4, 2" by 4 and 5/16 cutting capacity at 90-degree crosscut. We'll show you some of that. As they say, they show you there cutting, some molding and stuff. And yeah, it can do a lot of that kind of work. So, what else, though, is this saw good for? Well, I'll tell you what. Harbor Freight did send me this saw, and I want to say thanks to them for doing that. I told them that you guys wanted to see it. Not that I need another 7¼ inch saw. I'm going to end up giving this away to somebody local, because, sorry, it's going to cost too much to ship to do a big giveaway. But anyway, some of the blades they sent with it, they sent the 7¼ inch framing circular saw blade. This is the one I ended up using in the demo. Now, these are Bauer blades. I didn't see a Warrior set. I looked online. We got the 40-tooth finishings. If I didn't call out before, this is a 24-tooth. 40-tooth for a finishing blade, and then they have a 60-tooth fine finishing blade there. So those are your options when it comes to blades. But enough of that. Let me jump into it. Let me show you what this saw can do. Well, there you go. There you have it. I gotta say that saw it doesn't have quite the fit and finish of some other saws, and it may not feel quite as slick, but it definitely has the capability. It's got the guts. I mean, come on, a 4x4 piece of lumber like that, it went right through it. That was, I mean, that's pretty nice for a saw at that price point, at that size. I was stunned. I wasn't sure it could actually do it. Did it just fine. That said, I know you're asking, but Bear, how does it compare to the Heart? I'm going to tell you what, they're in two completely different classes. The Heart is just a nicer saw all the way around. All right, besides it's got the lovely, Bear Culees kind of blue that I like, that's near and dear to my heart. It's just got a better fit and finish. It's got an actual spindle lock on it. It's got a front-mounted control on it. In fact, I don't even have the knob on this one. I didn't mount it for some reason. I did later, but anyway, it all works just fine. The way they are. They both do their jobs. The Heart just seems to do it a little bit smoother and look a little bit nicer while doing so. But here's what you got to remember. That Heart, when we were talking about it, was a closeout deal at $54. $54, that's a steal. It's not normally $54. That's normally a $134 saw. That's not cheap, all right, for a 7 1/4 at that point. Look at this. At that price point, I can get myself a Metabo 10-inch 15 amp saw. Why would I get the 7 1/4 when for essentially the same price, $134 versus $138, free shipping if you got Prime and all that good stuff. Why would you not get this rather than the Metabo, the HPT? It's got a fantastic warranty on it. They do great stuff. I'm a big fan of what used to be Hitachi, but I guess at this point you're looking at form factor. You're getting this saw for form factor. But if you could still get this saw for $54, oh yeah, all day and night. But most people we've kind of cleared them out. So if you can't and you're stuck, you're like, what am I going to do now? This is not a terrible option. I mean, as you can see, it does the job. But let's talk about it. Does it really have the guts to do something it shouldn't? Well, let me introduce you to my friend. His name is Mr. Diablo. Diablo Steel Demon, that is. Yeah, I did it. You guys wanted to hear it. A bunch of you asked about this and said, can it cut metal? Can it? Because now, of course, with most wood saws, you can cut aluminum. I was going to show some aluminum cutting kind of stuff like that. I'm like, no. Now, I know some people have been doing this little hack here and doing this with these saws. So I'm like, can I do it with not even with the Heart, because I figured the Heart, at $134, it better be able to handle this. Can I do it with the super cheapy little Harbor Freight Warrior? So we're going to throw this blade on the Warrior. We're going to give it a try. Again, do not try this at home. This is not recommended. This will probably void your warranty, more than likely void your life insurance. Don't do it. Let the Bear risk his little fuzzy paws on this stuff. This is for entertainment purposes only.
That wasn't too bad.
That's fantastic. Well, there you go. I was stunned. My son was stunned. I had him sitting there. He wanted to watch and see what's going on, what Papa Bear's up to and stuff. Even he was like, wow, that was actually pretty easy. And it was. I could not believe how quick it cut through that and how good the cut was compared to looking at like an abrasive saw or something like that. And it was cool. Okay, it went cool, but it wasn't hot. I could immediately pick it up. I could place it against my palm. it didn't hurt nothing. It was, I'm stunned. I'm at a loss for words. Now, you know, most of this can probably be attributed to the Diablo Steel Demon Blade. And, but again, the saw is not designed for this. In fact, you can't even use the saw with this blade as it comes from the factory. You have to do a slight modification. It's not a big one. But again, this is not what there's nothing in the manual that says you can do this. There's nothing that says you should do this online. This is, don't do this. Okay. This is how the bear did this. I just want to tell you what I did so you know what not to do. Right here, the inner flange here that goes between the blade. Typically, when you take one of these blades off, you leave that inner flange there. If you put on the Diablo blade, the kerf on the Diablo blade is so thick, you will not be able to get the outer flange to lock into the spindle. You know, it's got the little bevels there on the side. And there's no way to really clamp down the blade correctly. Don't do it incorrectly. So what I had to do was I had to take this flange and flip it the other way, and that made it sit down a little bit lower in there, which gave me room to get on the blade, get the outer flange on, have it get, you know, traction with the spindle, and then get the arbor bolt on there. It's the only way that'll work. Don't do that because it's not designed to be done like that. You're going to avoid everything at that point. As far as the blade, I'm going to show you the blade I used so you know what blade not to buy, all right? Because you're not supposed to be doing this. The bear does not endorse this. There definitely might be a link down below so you can verify which blade not to use, okay? We're clear? And don't try this at home. Entertainment purposes only. If you do it, you're an idiot. Okay? Trust me, I'm a certified moron, and that's why I do this, and so you don't have to. Anyway, it was the 7 1/4 by 38 ferrous, 1/8 to 3/8 steel demon from Diablo. Now, one of the things you have to look at if you were to use a blade like this is you have to make sure that the spindle speed is, or the blade speed is the same. Now, remember, we talked about this before when we looked at the blade speed on the Harbor Freight, and the blade speed is 5,200 RPM. Well, if you look at the Diablo, it's got a blade speed, so it says somewhere, here we go, max speed is 5,800 RPM. So we're getting up there near the top, but you're not exceeding that blade speed. You have to be very careful. You cannot exceed blade speed or bad shattery things with sharp metal bits flying everywhere will happen. That said, eye protection's a must. Because trust me, sharp little metal bits did fly everywhere. Of course, they were the ones I was supposed to be cutting rather than the blade itself. But they were sharp, they're pokey, and they sprayed everywhere. All right, so safety first, don't try it. Safety second, wear eye protection if you're going to be dumb like a bear. All right, anyway, I can't say enough about these blades. As you know, lots of people love the Diablo blades. I'm a big fan of the Diablo blades. I also like the Irwin Marples. I like the Hercules blades, stuff like that. But this is the first one of these I've tried in the steel cutting. Now, this is for thick ferrous metal. Now, it was angle iron that I cut with this, but it's not for super thick here. It talks about the size here. You're looking for 1/8 to 3/8 thickness. All right, so you're not going to be cutting stuff that's, you know, stupid thick. All right, this is for basic small metal shop, small metal working kind of stuff. But you know, as an option around the shop, wouldn't it be nice to have a nice little saw like this? Now, I know lots of people talk about the Evolution saw that's out there, and they can be an answer. But, you know, they're not the cheapest things out there, at least for the miter saw. The only miter saw I could find is the 10-inch compound dual bevel sided miter saw, whatever. And you're looking at $260. Now, they do have a handheld version, which is, the only place I could find to buy it was directly from their store, which point you're looking at $60. They've got free delivery. That's not bad, but if you're looking for a chop saw kind of version, that's not really going to be the solution that you want to get. If you want something that's you can put on a bench or whatnot, I don't see there being a better option than this. So what do you think? Do you think that there is a place in your shop for a saw this size? You're gonna, you know, do you have a small shop, you want to get a miter saw? Do you have a bigger shop and you've got room for a secondary dedicated miter saw? What are your thoughts? Also, if there's any other tools around kind of like this category or something you want the bear to have tested or take a look at, comment down below. Anyway, while you're down there, don't forget to chomp the old like button, subscribe, ring the bell. That's all the bear has. You all take care, God bless, and as always, come on, say it with me, shine on.